Hey, we're here in Marquette, Michigan, working on the 2018 Bible of Bike test. I'm Travis Engel, gear editor at Bike Mag. I'm here with John Weber and Ryan Kleek. Today we rode the Kona Process 153 CR DL 27.5. And man, the Process was a pretty anticipated bike, you know? I mean, it's really arguably what started the whole long in the front, short in the back thing. And it's never been carbon. It's the first time it's been carbon. And by today's standards, I thought the Geo was relatively standard, you know? It's got we rode the large 475 reach, 420 chainstay, but man, there were a few other things that really like made it work.
Yeah. So 425 chainstay, which is sort of like what they've had, I think, on even the former Process bikes, and the reach is
475 on the
475, which is it's long, but it's not like this radical thing like what the first line of Process bikes are. And I was actually really excited to see that because Kona sort of resisted the urge probably to go longer, to go slacker, and sort of match this new breed of enduro bikes. And I'm glad they did because this thing's really fun, I thought, pretty much everywhere.
And at the moment, you know, a lot of brands have their sizing. It's kind of changed in the last few years. A lot of people are in between bike sizes based on their height. And me being 5'9", I'm probably on the short end of someone who would ride a large, but this bike, I was able to make it fit me, you know, quite well. I just had to slam the seat, the dropper post as far as it would go and the seat all the way forward, but otherwise, that's probably the size of the bike I would purchase on my own.
And it also has a 76-degree seat angle, which really made it stand out.
Yeah, that is one thing where they're definitely sort of on the radical frontier this year. And yeah, I agreed. That seat tube angle on the climbs kept the bike feeling really under control because you were nicely centered, plenty of weight on the front, despite the long reach. And I thought this bike had maybe the best ground hugging effect of any of the bikes we tested today. It was really, really planted over techie climbs. The acceleration, I think, wasn't quite as snappy as on some of the other ones, but I thought it was still pretty impressively supportive off the top.
I went into it with kind of low expectations on the climbing. I mean, it is 32.5 pounds with pedals, and it's, I mean, you pick it up and look at it, I mean, it's a big bike. So yeah, when I felt the same thing, yeah, I was super impressed with how planted and like how comfy it was to climb.
And Kona seems to be like one of the brands who they're trickling down kind of the frame design from the downhill bike to other shorter travel, maybe all mountain and trail categories. And the bike really, to speak to what you said a moment ago, it really does handle very similar to their downhill bike. It's on the more mellow trails. It felt kind of sluggish at times. And I was like, man, I don't know about this. But the moment you got on steeper, rough stuff, it was like, oh, that's how this bike is designed. I mean, you look at the spec, it makes perfect sense. It's like when you change your expectations as to what the bike is designed to do, and it really works well in that arena.
Yeah, I felt the same way, that it really is, it's meant to be pushed as hard as you could go. This isn't the first bike I rode today. I'm stoked. I kind of worked up to it and kind of got to know the trails a little bit better. And I'd never reached the end of what the Kona wanted me to put it through. Like I got used to trusting it more through corners and trusting it through rock gardens. Like I never reached the end of it.
That being said, I think I run a higher rebound rate than Kleek. I don't know about how it compares to yours, but I didn't feel like I needed to be on the steepest, fastest stuff to have fun on this bike. I still felt like it was pretty active and enjoyable to ride on just mellower descents. Which is part of why I like that Kona didn't go full enduro.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bike that you can pedal, and I mean, that's really what you're looking for in a bike this category. Like we rode the Mondraker, and I kind of had sort of a similar vibe to it in that it's steep in the rear, long in the front, and but it's a little less balanced than that bike. Like the front end's a little bit higher. This one is, I feel like it definitely has a downhill bias, even though it's a decent climbing bike.
Yeah, I agree. It really reminded me of the Rocky Mountain Slayer we reviewed last year at the Bible, where it was really capable on the downhill terrain. The rougher it got, the better the bike performed. However, it's totally capable of being climbed to the top of any ride you want. And I feel like this bike was kind of designed for the the experienced, aggressive descender who really wants to be not held back in that arena, but yet have a capable bike that can get him to any part of the trail.
It's huge you compare it to the Slayer. I mean, that's a significantly longer travel bike. And I kind of felt that same way, that this thing it performs outside of its weight class.
Yeah, and if you were to compare it to the Remedy, which is sort of in the same range, Trek Remedy, I would say it's also more of a bomber bike than a playful kind of deal. Compared to the Mondraker, which is the Mondraker Foxy, which we also tested today, which is a more radical bike and it's much longer than the Kona. I thought that the Kona's suspension worked better on the downhills. I thought it was suppler and just felt like it was supporting me, and it had that more cloud-like feel. But I felt faster on the Mondraker. Just that long wheelbase, long reach. I felt like I could just bomb the whole way.
The rear wheel traction on the Kona, I felt like I was just connected on anything that was a slippery route, the slippery granite, the leaf-covered rocks. I just felt hooked up the entire time. But yet, to your point, it never felt like I was reaching the bottom part of the travel. I never felt like I was pushing the bike through to its limit. I feel like there's so much more that this thing could take.
Yeah, this thing could take a lot. We were all pretty impressed with what we could put it through. So it is a really comfy, capable, active climber. But man, is it a beast going downhill. Right now, this bike is sitting in the hot seat as my favorite. Haven't gotten through the whole test, but it's got some high marks for me. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to Bike Mag's channel so you don't miss out on any of our other Bible videos.